Southfield's chief of police is shedding light on the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of a college student. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Brian Abel. Canoe was found dying in the middle of Providence Drive in Southfield back in early June.
Hi, my name is Mia, and you're watching Disney Channel. Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Of course, my name is Mia, and I am here to tell you guys that I'm starting this channel. I'm giving you a synopsis, which is like basically a summary of what I'm going to be talking about on my channel. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of my farm life, though I might take you guys on there for a vlog one day. It's definitely going to be about managing your time, your friends, your boyfriend, your school, and you know, just being able to do everything in one swoop and be able to, because man, I feel like Princess Diana.
You're in the back seat, severely sick. You open the door to vomit and fall out onto cold asphalt, hitting your head hard enough to change your life forever. The driver, your friend, is still driving. She doesn't stop, doesn't call 911. She just keeps going, hours before anyone finds you, because she was too drunk to notice you were gone, or maybe too focused on, you have a brilliant future ahead of you, a dream of becoming a veterinarian. But now you're fighting for air on life support. What kind of person chooses a misdemeanor charge over turning around to check on their dying friend? You need to see the chilling evidence that proves exactly what she was doing while Mia was fighting to live. Welcome to Hot True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss out on our important true crime documentary. Mia Kanu was the kind of person you just knew was going places. 23 years old, a pre-vet student at Tennessee State University. Seriously, she had her life mapped out. She wasn't just dreaming about being a veterinarian. She was actively working as an assistant at an animal clinic. If you ever saw her own YouTube channel, and I encourage you to look it up, she was talking about wartime management, organization, and balancing school, work, and a social life. She even posted videos about getting at friendship tattoos. To be honest, she was the type of friend we all need, focused, loyal, and full of that incredible, infectious energy. Her mother said she was a treasure, and for a lot of people, meeting Mia was a turning point. But even the most organized life can be thrown into chaos by one terrible night. Mia was home in Southfield, Michigan for the summer of 2023. She was reconnecting with people, but her mother, Bianca Van Meter, had a nagging feeling about some of the new acquaintances. You know that feeling when something just feels off about a person your kid is hanging out with? It's a gut check. And that feeling was so strong that Bianca felt compelled to ask Mia for a picture of the vehicle registration of one of her new friends. On Friday, June 2nd, Mia sent the picture. Later that night, around 11 p.m., she briefly went home to grab a pair of socks before heading out to a house party with her friend, Kentia Fearn, who owned that silver 2022 Jeep Compass. At the party, Mia drank a lot. The toxicology report later revealed her blood alcohol content was 0.1%. That's severely intoxicated. Sometime in the early morning hours, they left. Mia was asleep in the back seat, but the chaos was just beginning. Kenya, allegedly intoxicated herself, got into a heated fight with her boyfriend. He reportedly took her phone and drove off, and Kentia started chasing after him, prioritizing a petty drama over the person passed out behind her. And then it happened. At 4:29 a.m., a passerby found Mia Kanu. She was lying motionless in the roadway on Providence Drive. She was rushed to the hospital with catastrophic head trauma. She had been ejected from the moving Jeep. The Southfield police launched an immediate investigation, but Mia's mother and the community were left with the initial brutal question. Why was she left for dead? Was she pushed? Was this a murder? The initial reports said homicide was not ruled out. You heard Mia talking about how hard it is to manage school, work, and friends, how easily one thing falls apart. If you value your judgment and your awareness over blind trust, you need to subscribe to Hot True Crime. Right now, don't be the one who misses the warning signs. Mia's mother felt uncomfortable with the new friend. As a friend, do you have a moral duty to step in or refuse to participate when you see a loved one making disastrous choices? Or is that overstepping? Tell me your thoughts below.
What the evidence suggests is that Mia may be in the process of throwing up. There was vomit on the seal of the door, and there was vomit in the roadway. Alcohol was detected in Mia's blood, and the alcohol blood contact was a 0.21.
Mia was rushed to the hospital, but the news was devastating. She suffered irreparable damage from the severe head trauma. She was placed on life support, but 2 days later, on June 5th, she was tragically declared deceased. The investigation had to pivot immediately. Since the initial confusion over homicide, the Southfield Police and the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office focused heavily on forensic evidence to determine exactly how she exited the vehicle. The first critical piece of evidence was Mia's autopsy and toxicology report. It revealed a blood alcohol content of 1.21% within her arm. Think about that. That's nearly 3 times the legal limit. She wasn't just tipsy. She was in a state of severe alcohol poisoning, disoriented, lacking coordination, and often acutely nauseous. This extreme level of intoxication explains the mechanism of the accident. Police Chief Elvin Barron confirmed there was no evidence to support the idea that Mia intentionally jumped. Instead, the forensic findings pointed to a grim, tragic detail. Mia, in her incapacitated state, opened the back door while the car was moving, likely trying to vomit. They found physical evidence confirming this vomit was discovered in the winch seal of the car door and on the Hummer roadway or near where Mia was found. The resulting impact with the pavement inflicted the severe trauma that was fatal. But here's where it gets really interesting and frankly deeply disturbing. To reconstruct the events precisely, investigators obtained warrants for the silver Jeep Compass itself and crucially for its Uconnect telematics data system. That's the onboard computer that tracks everything: speed, abrupt movements, and GPS location at the exact moment Mia fell. They were building a digital timeline. The core finding from this technical analysis, combined with the gruesome scene evidence, confirms the worst. Mia fell out accidentally while incapacitated. This forensic confirmation redirects the primary focus from the mechanism of the fall to the driver's actions immediately afterward. Because the critical delay in medical aid is now everything. Surveillance footage confirmed that immediately after Mia fell out of the moving vehicle, the driver did not stop. We all make bad decisions when panic hits, but there's a massive difference between a mistake and a moral failure that costs a life. If you have ever felt that sickening realization of being too late, you need to like this video and share it with one person who needs to understand the weight of that responsibility. Don't carry the burden of silence. The police concluded Mia's fall was accidental due to severe intoxication, not reckless driving. Since the $0.21 BAC was a primary contributing factor, how much of the blame for the initial accident rests with Mia herself? And where does the driver's criminal liability truly begin? Tell me your thoughts below. Surveillance footage confirmed it. Mia Kanu was ejected from the moving vehicle, and the driver, Kentia Fearn, didn't stop. She just kept driving, leaving her friend critically injured on the pavement. This immediate decision to flee constituted the core betrayal. Mia's mother noted the family's disbelief that no one in the car, and remember, there was possibly another passenger, called 911 or attempted to render aid. That silence, her mother said, speaks volumes on whoever did this.
Is not a joke. And this whole situation boils down to that.
Now here is where it gets really interesting and honestly sickening. Instead of turning around, instead of going to the nearest house, instead of grabbing her own phone and calling the police, Farron continued driving. And the first place she drove? The Detroit Police 5th Precinct. She went there hours later to report her phone stolen. And when she made that report, the Detroit officer noted that Fern appeared highly intoxicated. Think about that sequence. She's fleeing the scene of a life-threatening accident, and her priority is a missing cell phone and avoiding an OMI. It wasn't until 8 hours after the incident, around 12:25 p.m. that Saturday, that Farron finally showed up at the Southfield Police Department. Even then, her story was about the drama, the argument with her boyfriend, the stolen phone, and then, almost as an afterthought, Mia falling from the vehicle. Southfield Police Chief Elvin Barron reviewed the footage, and his public question cut straight through the legal jargon and the panic. What kind of friend is that? He made it clear that evidence showed Fern was more concerned about her phone drama and self-preservation than calling 911. Mia's grandmother, Lucina Reyes, summed up the profound emotional weight, saying that Mia Kurik loved Kentia. That's the painful realization for the family. Mia was not killed by a random, heartless stranger, but abandoned by someone she trusted deeply in her most vulnerable moment. The police determined Mia was ejected from the moving vehicle, hours before she was found, by the passerby at 4:29 a.m. Those missing hours, those silent, selfish moments of flight, sealed Mia's fate. Kentia chose a small, immediate problem, a lost phone, over a monumental life or death crisis. How many times have you put a small, selfish priority ahead of truly helping someone? Hot True Crime demands accountability. Subscribe now. If you are unwilling to be silent when others are suffering, don't let your complacency speak volumes. If Kentia had stopped immediately and called 911, she would have faced the OE charge. Do you believe those critical 3 to 5 minutes immediately after the fall would have made the difference between Mia's survival and death? Should the law treat those first few minutes of flight as a failure to render aid equivalent to the severity of the death itself?
Control of the vehicle, and someone exits your vehicle while the car is in motion, and you don't take the time to stop, render aid, and check on your friend. What kind of friend is that?
When Mia Kanu died on June 5th, the case shifted from a mysterious accident to a criminal investigation focused entirely on the driver, Kentia Fearn. The public immediately demanded the most severe punishment. People saw a young woman's life gone and expected murder charges. But the law, as prosecutor Karen McDonald knew, is about proof humano. Because the evidence suggested Mia's fall was an accident, a tragic result of her own extreme intoxication, the prosecution couldn't easily prove that Fearn's driving error directly caused the death. So they focused on the one thing they could prove, the road abandonment. On September 15, 2023, Fearn was formally charged with 2 crimes related to the incident. 1. Operating while intoxicated, OWI. This is the misdemeanor charge, carrying a maximum penalty of just 93 days in jail. 2. Leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. This is the felony charge, punishable by up to 5 years earned in prison and a $5,000 fine. This distinction is everything. The entire legal takedown rests on the fact that Fearn prioritized avoiding the small, immediate penalty, the OWI misdemeanor, over fulfilling her absolute legal and moral duty to help her friend. Prosecutor McDonald stated clearly, "The law requires anyone involved in an accident to stop and immediately report the accident to authorities. Leaving the scene when someone is seriously injured or dies is a felony. The justice system is essentially saying, we can't prove you caused the fall, but we can absolutely prove you guaranteed her death by not stopping." That self-serving, intoxicated, panicked decision to drive away is what elevated this from a tragic accident into a serious criminal act. The punishment is for the flight, not the fall itself. Fearn was arrested and arraigned with her bond set at just $3,000. Now, she faces up to 5 years in state prison. But for Mia's family, watching Fearn walk away on a low bond while their daughter lay on life support, then later donated her organs, was an injustice too profound to measure. If you believe that 5 years for driving away from a dying friend is not enough, that the criminal punishment doesn't fit the moral betrayal, then your voice needs to be heard. Subscribe. 2. Hot True Crime. To join the community that tracks these cases and fights for true accountability, don't let your silence imply agreement with the sentence. Fearn's ultimate criminal charge was the felony of leaving the scene. If the law had allowed for an easier path to a more severe charge like vehicular manslaughter, would Fearn have been less likely to flee? Did the relatively light punishment for OWI actually incentivize her felony abandonment? Mia Kanu died on June 5th, but her story doesn't end with the legal charges. It ends with a powerful final act of selfless love that shines a stark spotlight on her friend's betrayal. Mia was a future veterinarian, a young woman who loved all animals and everything living. She had planned her life around helping others, and in her death, that dedication to giving continued. After doctors determined Mia had suffered irreparable brain damage, her family honored a conversation she'd previously had with her sister. They consented to organ donation. Think about that moment of profound moral contrast. While Kentia Fearn was spending 8 long hours prioritizing a stolen phone and her own freedom from a misdemeanor charge, Mia was being prepared to save lives. The hospital staff honored Mia with a traditional walk of life ceremony as she was taken to the operating room, and the ultimate outcome of her final act, Mia's liver went to save a baby. It's an agonizing, beautiful juxtaposition. Fearn's ultimate criminal act was abandonment. The choice to take away the chance for life-saving aid. Mia's ultimate legacy was giving. The choice to ensure life continued. Her selfless act stands as a towering rebuke to the calculated flight of the person she called a friend. The world lost a treasure, a young woman whose ability to manage her time and mentor others demonstrated the bright future that was snatched away. Mia's family is left with a profound sense of injustice, but they hold on to the strength derived from her final heroic gift. The felony charge Farron faces for leaving the scene of the accident, a maximum of 5 years, is the cold, hard number the law assigns to that betrayal. When the cameras stop rolling and the headlines fade, only one thing remains: your character. Mia's character saved a life. Kentia's character ended one. If you want to be the kind of friend who stops and acts, subscribe to My Hot True Crime and join a community that fights for truth and morality. Don't find yourself unprepared when your loyalty is truly tested. Mia Kanu's last documented act was to give life. Kentia Farron's last documented choice was to drive away from her friend. Which legacy will ultimately survive in the minds of the public? And why do you think the media struggles to keep the focus on the one phenomenon? Give me your honest, final thoughts on this tragedy. My deepest condolences go out to Mia's mother, Bianca von Meter, her father, Sori Kanu, and all of Mia's family. She was a beautiful soul who deserved so much more. Thank you for watching this true crime story to the end. I will see you in our next true crime story.